Okay, I'm going to try to show you the process, or one process that I've been using to make songs. And I really like this, what the piano can do. Lately I've been exploring stuff starting with the piano. And here's an arpeggiator. I'm going to hit run. Octave range is 2 octaves, so when I hit, it's playing. Maybe I'll actually play the autoplay. So I have one, I don't even know if that's 1 bar, if that's called 1 bar or 2 or what. Now, the interaction of that with a simple melody, to me, is amazing. It seems, whatever, simple something. No, I'm going to use the chords. Well, that would be a nice melody, but I don't know if I can repeat. I'm just going to try something. Maybe that's not even called a melody, because I'm hitting chords. I'm turning down the first automatic. All right, I'm going to try to add some things that All right, a lot of it sounds bad, but it can be edited later. So I'm always playing in the key of C because I really only know how to play on the white keys. If it gets complicated and we have to learn how to use the black keys for minor or whatever, all kinds of different keys. But amazingly, in this on GarageBand, you can transpose your whole song into a different key after you've made it. So sometimes I have a section that's in key of C, and then I record that and bring it in and back in in a different key, which is really cool, I think. Let's just add some drums and see what it sounds like. I'm actually going to use drummers because It's very hard to make a good drumming beat. And I like the percussion, although Isabella always comes up, and it's not always the best. Yeah, I did something really bad here in this sequence. So I can go in and edit out, delete, delete, delete. I'm not sure which ones were the bad ones, but it's so easy to redo this stuff. It's really hard to keep it simple, I find, because it's so easy to get complicated. And then, wow, that does not look like what I thought it was going to look. When I get into the details of what I'm editing, I get lost. But less is more. Less. I know that theoretically, it's just really hard to put that into practice. So that sequence there doesn't sound very good, and it's not likely, but sometimes amazing things happen if I just duplicate that track. Whoops, copy, paste. Oh, I got it somewhere. I got the wrong delete. Go to the start. I didn't have the cursor at the right spot. So now we have this same sequence doubled, and I'm just going to move it over a little bit and see how it interacts. Wow, I think it's so much better. And I think this is because of something that a teacher, I went online and I watched him teaching how to do improvisation. No, maybe it was the guy before that. And the only thing I remember from his whole 1 hour speech or lesson, I think, is he says, repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. In other words, I would say that means if you do it again, they think you did it on purpose. It sounds like you did it on purpose because you were able to do it again. You must have known what you were doing in order to reproduce it. Well, in this case, with GarageBand, you don't know how. I don't know what I did, but I was able to reproduce it by copying and pasting. Wow. I don't know about you, but I love that. And it just came from a very unpromising, came out of a very unpromising start, I think. So I'm going to put in some analog mellow lead. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what an analog mellow lead is, but I know I like how it sounds. And I just keep resolving everything back down to C, to the C note, because that is the main note of this key. And all I have to play with the white keys, adding these and the black keys makes it really complicated. And I can't really afford to complicate things that much. Let's see how what would sound good if I add analog mellow lead. All right, that was nice, very simple. Again, I'm just resolving it back to the C. I have 3 C's here, the higher C4, C3, and C2. And if I keep going back to them, that makes it harmonious with the whole song. And if there's something that creates tension, it resolves when you bring it back to that note C. So I think this is already very promising. It's just very simple improvisation. And I might be at the point, or no, I was going to say, I'm going to copy this, duplicate this analog mellow lead track because it's not very loud in the mix. So I'm going to double it, and that should make it louder. And then I don't have to turn up. We can't really turn up the tracks because later on they interfere with each other if we do that. So let's see how that helped. I almost can't tell you how fun this is. I've done a lot of things that sound terrible. The other teacher that I spent $100 just to watch his thing, just because I bought the whole package of many lessons, and doesn't seem to be interested. I don't seem to be interested in the other lessons, but he said, when you're improvising, just know everybody sounds bad in the beginning. And it's even not just when you're improvising, but just when you're practicing, when you're learning how to play. You're always going to sound bad in the beginning. So just get used to that. And then, there are so many things that sound so wonderful to me. I fall in love with almost every song now when I'm making it. So I'm going to there's this, I forget what it's called, but you can add echo and reverb there, reverb. So I'm just making the notes a little bit longer. But with this visual EQ, that really brings the mid-range up higher. Well, I think this is a really good start. I have I have 3 piano tracks, 4 piano tracks. 4 piano tracks. One is called percussion. I don't understand what the difference is between percussion and drumming and drums, but it seems to be lighter things. And that seems to be a nice background for this stuff that I've been doing lately. So then 2 analog mellow leads, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tracks. I think you can put 25 all together in GarageBand. You have to merge them together if you go more than that, but I don't need anywhere near that much. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate these because, once again, repetition legitimizes. Repetition legitimizes. I have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 gives me about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a standard song, length of a song, just because the original vinyl records were only able to do that long. That's how it became like that. So basically, so this can be really repetitious, and I like repetition. I'm a dancer. I love dancing, and it's like trance dance can go on and on with the same thing repeating over and over, but a lot of people get bored with that. So adding to this, we can add anything into that, and then we can turn up and down the volume of the other stuff, the repeating stuff. Now, if we go to main categories, other, it's a little bit hard to learn where this is, but now we have flute, clarinet, oboe, bassoon, French horn. For some reason, I love the French horn. Brass ensemble, glockenspiel, strings pizzicato, strings sustain. Actually, I want to try the strings sustain. Oh, I hate that. It's so scratchy. It just sounds scratchy to me. All right, let's see. No, the horn does not sound scratchy. And that's very similar to the analog mellow lead, I think. But nice interaction, probably. I love that. So simple. Now, we can take that and loop it. I don't think it's going to line up with the original. No, it's going to be out of phase, and then we can see if that does something nice or it makes a mess. again, I feel like it's not very loud in the mix, and so I'm going to duplicate the trick. I deleted, but there's this arrow here that allows you to undo what you just did. So I'm going to duplicate that track, copy this track, paste it in, and once again, now our French horn should be a little bit louder in the mix. Yeah, it really sounds like the melody for the whole piece now. And now it can be, you know, just to show you, if I double click that, I can hit automation. And they say the only thing you can really automate directly in GarageBand is the volume. And you have to click this thing, turns red. Now you turn this up and down. It can be down to nothing. And usually I go too high, too loud. And if I have it with a different equalizing sound, if I make that lower when the other one is higher, that changes the sound of this background piano. Now this is going to go up and down, and this is going to go down and up, right? Hopefully that makes it a variation in the piano. Well, actually, I don't know what those things are, but I'm just playing around, doing random things, and then checking out, liking. If I like it, why isn't this working here? If I like it, I can betone it. Now I can't think except in German. I can make it more noticeable. If I don't like it, I can make it completely disappear in terms of sound, volume, I mean. I can make it so quiet that it really is nothing. It's gone. So it gets really complicated really quickly, and it's very, very interesting. I can't even keep track of what's happening. I have to look at it over and over on each track and see. But I think that it sounded like, the repetition was much reduced, the repetitive feeling or aspect. Like at the end, both the top tracks, the background arpeggio, are turned way down, and another one, the third track is turned way down, so it's only the fourth piano that's up in volume. I'm going to let it go through again. Well, I have a feeling my head was in the way all this time. Well, I think the whole thing is okay. Now it needs a little refining. Maybe add another instrument. And it gets dicey here because, bass sometimes gives it a really unified, it gives it a feeling of whatever you call it. Unifies unifies the whole piece. And it's really hard for me to keep it simple, but I think just the playing of this C is a very grounding beat, or a grounding sound for the whole song usually. And if I play around with different chords, it might not really work together with the other stuff so much. So I'm just gonna record it all the way through. I could loop it if I knew how to keep it on the exact beat, but I would say I don't, because I'm just gonna record it. Again, I think that the bass is hardly audible, might be there and really affecting us without us being conscious of it. Okay, it recorded that all the way through. And of course, obviously I can also vary the volume of the bass. And by the way, this all sounds very different with your headphones on. It always sounds better inside the iPad than it does after I export it to an outside player like I always export it to SoundCloud because that's what I have. I'm paying $16 a month to be able to do that. And I always do that right away because nobody's ever going to hear it inside my iPad. I have to find out what it sounds.
In a minute, we will start our dance break.
I'm doing a co-working with other people on Zoom, and they're going to do a dance break, but I'm going to have to turn down the volume, turn off my computer volume. So I can keep recording. Keep going through this. I think I kind of like the way the pipa sounds, which is the closest thing I've been able to get to a banjo sound in GarageBand as a default instrument. It's a Chinese something or other guitar. Here. And I can just barely hear it in the mix, but I can always turn it up later. All right, I'm gonna make a loop. I'm gonna just try looping that all the way across, see how that sounds now. Actually, I can barely hear it, and you probably can't hear it either, so I'm going to duplicate that whole track and the whole sound so we can both hear it maybe a little bit. I'm going to make it louder so you can tell. I'm going to, with the visual EQ, I'm going to turn up the mid-range of that sound. So you can probably tell the pipa sound is out of phase. When I looped it, it became out of phase with the piano sound that I was synchronizing it with. That may be a mess, or it may be interesting. I might be able to turn down the volume on the stuff that doesn't work and then have an interesting interplay with the rest. One thing I'd like to show you is to make a more of a banjo-like sound, which is usually strummed at high speed. You can copy the whole thing and then just move it out of phase. You can also put in echoes, of course. Let's see, this isn't working because I have it on set to change the EQ. Well, maybe that's not. Oh, it's because it's all the way to the end. I could probably move it forward. Yep. As you can see, it gets really complicated really fast. I'm going to duplicate again because I tend to make things complicated, and then all my life, I think, I've had to simplify afterwards. I think this is relatively boring because it's relatively on the beat. If I can have it a little bit off phase, and I forget what the... guess the way I've been making these songs is a little bit like inviting a whole bunch of different musicians to play whatever they want to play. And then sometimes it works together well, and other times it's a cacophony. And that's improvisation. When people get good at it, that's what I found out what jazz is. You get together and you know a few things that you can say, oh, let's do this, and then everybody riffs off that, and it becomes a great interaction. So that's what I'm trying to do, and sometimes not as well, and sometimes more as well. But it's almost all non-destructive, editable in a non-destructive way. Let's try adding a drum for no reason whatsoever. I usually like to delete the first bar of the drum. That's certainly dramatic. This Jasper, it's called Blast Cap. It's very dramatic in the mix. It's like changing the song tremendously. Try turning it down, up, and then loud at the end. yeah, so I'm still going to, now I don't know what's going, okay, hit done. That means the automation is stopped. Now I'm going to set it to fade out again. I think it's always better to have the song fade out the way I do it anyway. Then the listener knows it's coming to an end. And C major. Anyway, I think one more accent instrument could be great. And then the hard part comes. It's the editing of the more subtle adjustments. But I'm kind of like thinking that some brass, some trumpet type stuff. See, when it says brass here, it's not the same brass. Other, if you go into other, you have the flute, clarinet, oboe, bassoon, French horn, and brass ensemble. So the brass ensemble can really give a dramatic accent. Dramatic accent. I just went to the visual EQ and pushed the mid range up so there will be a really dramatic accent. Of course, all of this will be different if once I get a collaborator who sings, a singer who will work with me. I've had some people send me some samples, but then they don't keep doing more so far. And so I have to use one or two of the instruments like the voice, like a singer's voice in the mix, I would say. And I'm not sure if I know how to do that, but theoretically that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually not sure how well the pipa sounds in, how good it sounds in this mixing together with the piano. I see I have 4 tracks of pipa. Wow. I mean, it's kind of a twangy nasal, almost a nasal sound, which I'm not sure I like in this. So either I can probably go in and change that sound with the, what if I go down on all of them? That one. Now, change this, go down on that one, mid-range, go down on the mid-range on that one. It's probably not going to do change what I was just describing, but I'm only playing around and learning by doing. Well, that turned all the pipa sound down, way down in the mix, which I like better. It's just a little accent in the background, or yeah, maybe it's an accent. Well, I just turned up both the mid-range on the brass ensemble and the the treble, higher pitch part, because I wanted it to be a really strong accent. Now I'm thinking maybe I can make that more interesting by duplicating if I copy that, duplicate the track, copy the brass, and then put it out of phase. I don't even know if that's the right word for it, out of phase, but not in sync. Well, I think that's promising, so I'm changing the EQ on the first one so that it sounds like two different brass sections. And if I start over with the equalizing thing, I could maybe put some echo there and reverb, and wow, the bass is way down. I guess that's because of what I did in the EQ, in the visual EQ. I'm going to listen to this with headphones on for a minute. I'm sure it'll sound much better. At least to me, not to you. Yeah, it certainly sounds better with the headphones on. And then, of course, well, I really won't know what it sounds like until I export it to SoundCloud. I don't know what it's going to sound like to other people. And we have in our co-working, I think it's going to probably be another, I don't know, it's 10 minutes or something. And then we're going to talk about what we did together. Well, I guess it doesn't do you any good when I have the headphones on. think I'm going to make the second one echo, the second brass sequence. And this one had echo. I'm going to turn that down. And I'm going to do the second one, echo it a lot and reverb a lot. See if that sounds better. Yeah, I think that sounds better. It's kind of cool how it sounds like one bunch of trumpets and so on are answering the first. I've completely forgotten what the compressor does, or what it's supposed to be good for in this. It's supposed to push the highs and lows toward the middle, I think. But I'm not really sure how to make that work for me. I'm going to have to learn more about that later. But yeah, the treble, turn up the treble, down the bass, turn up echo, turn up reverb. It's very interesting. I have no idea if this song is turning out well. It's hard to talk about it. Hard to talk about it and understand what I'm doing at the same time. Not that I ever really understand what I'm doing. It's fun because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm improvising and it's totally surprising. I'm always surprised when I love the result, and I'm surprised by all kinds of things when I just throw stuff together like this. Well, I think it's we went through some process, and I'm gonna stop the video. I think I'll stop the video now, and hope that you got some idea of what you can do with GarageBand on an iPad, and it's very similar on an iPhone. This is the biggest iPad that I could get. 12.9, I think it's called. iPad Pro. So it gives me the biggest. Oh, cute. I haven't heard that kind of echo right in the original. That's pretty cool. I'm going to stop it now and put it up on SoundCloud and see what it sounds like there. And once I put this video up on YouTube, I can link to the total finished one on SoundCloud, I think. Okay.